Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Do we have any men in the building? Okay. I'm sure by the next class we would. So I'm standing on already existing protocol. It is my pleasure to be taking each and every one of you on this condensed module, being that we're already pressed for time, but yet very extensive module on a topic that I find very pivotal to the success of any business. As already mentioned, we will be talking about customer care and service. So just as the phrase connotes, what is customer care? Pretty much describes how people are treated, when they interact with a brand. And we all know that this includes experiences before, during, and after a purchase. Presently, I've had a lot of people complain about the attitudes of, the people from which they need to purchase stuff from. So in as much as we want to spend our money, as human beings, we need to have that emotional connection. And oftentimes it might not be through a verbal conversation. It could just be, for instance, on the packet of a product, you want to know maybe if it's something you haven't used before. Like, let me draw from the lady who has skincare products. You wouldn't be able to answer to 1,000 people, how do I use this? So customer care can be as little as taking out the time to say, okay, maybe use a small amount every morning or every other day, little things like that, okay? So what we would be looking at today are what does customer care entail? How can we promote customer care within our businesses and organization? What are the mistakes, the common mistakes that are made, and the pillars for customer care? If you're all with me, please can I get whatever, a handshake, a high five? I can hear your voices, so I need to know we're all together. Oh, great, great, great. Okay, so customer care, just like I said, is very important because it fosters an emotional connection, between you and your tribe, like we like to call it this day, It involves solving a problem or meeting a need. Like the first speaker said, you need to have something beyond the basic why of, making ends meet or putting food on the table. We're all on earth to fulfill a purpose, to fulfill an assignment. And so whatever it is that your hands have found to do, it is important that you do it well because there are a lot of other people, in the same line of business. So what would be your higher why? For me, it is customer care. I need to make you feel not just important, you are, but I need to make you know that it is also important for me, that you see reasons to keep on, coming back, repeated sales. Okay, so that's meeting a need. Then we have showing them how to use the products, just like I explained with the skincare example. And then we have answering questions. For instance, I'll take one of my clients who's into yogurt making. You would have to maybe label on the yogurt sweet, mildly sweet, and sweetened, things like that. Okay. Then let's quickly jump into ways to promote customer care within our organizations. These include, but are not limited to, personalizing the service. It could be little things as little as not re-forwarding messages sometimes. You want to have a personal connection with as much, but then again, I also understand that some people's businesses might really have grown. And at that point in time, for instance, Coca-Cola cannot afford to send me a message every day. MTN cannot afford to send me a message, every day. But when they do, for instance, on my birthday, my bank would not send me a message with your name, so you need to learn how to personalize your service. Presently, I believe most people who are here are startup entrepreneurs. So um, your audience, mightn't be so large that you cannot afford to give them first class attention at the moment. Second, we would be touching on making yourself available to customers. So, there are different ways to do that. For some people, maybe who have a 9 to 5 and you can't take up questions at every given second, you could have a dedicated email where, before the end of the day, you can go in and answer questions, or maybe once in a week, like we see now on IG, people do the live question and answer, stuff like that. So make yourself available to customers. Go the extra mile for the customers. So for those of us who are still struggling with ego and all of that, I would have to break the bubble to let you know that it won't take you far. You can't afford to give that attitude of, after all, it's not your money that's putting food on the table. I can afford to go pick up a 9 to 5. Every now and then, you would have customers, that get on your nerves, customers who are just hard to please. I've had a lot of those, but look beyond that. Look beyond the great, look at the greater good, and be able to handle your emotions, or put your emotions second place and that of your customer, first place. Like the popular saying we hear, the customer is always right. Indeed, the customer is always right. If anybody feels otherwise, please feel free to drop a comment, and we can talk about that by the end of my session. Okay, be empathetic to their situation. For instance, right now, the dollar is, skyrocketing compared to the Naira. How do we balance it? You want to make money, but at the same time, has the income of your customers increased? What do we do? How can we meet each other halfway? I'll give you an example. I would not for anything trade quality. So what I can do is drop the quantity. So if you were used to getting maybe 500 grams of my product, it may now be 450 grams. So that way, the quantity, still stays. You're still paying the same amount that you were paying, but I'm not having to suffer such a great loss. So you have to be empathetic to their situation. In the case of, let me take the example of, a fashion designer. You know that all ladies or all men don't have the same, body structure. So you need to be empathetic, or let me still use that word, empathetic to their situation, their body types. You can't just say it's, if it's not a t-shirt, which is, even in t-shirts, you still have this small, medium, large, right? But when it's a dress that is for an occasion, you need to be specific to that particular client. Listen to your customers, understand their needs, be agile, and adapt to changing circumstances. The first speaker also touched on that. We are in changing times. We also need to evolve. Some people need to put their businesses online. Others, for instance, need to, just switch things up a little. No matter the kind of businesses you do, I'll give another quick example. I walked into a salad store about a month ago, and I was really impressed at how they now allow people, do the combination of their salads. Once upon a time, at least maybe about 20 years ago, I think there were just about 2 types of salad, at least in this part of the world. You either had the coleslaw or the other salad. And then about 10 years later, we had about 5 going on 10 different salads. And then you would hear things like the Greek salad, the Caesar salad, the potato salad. But as time went on, people began to understand, okay, I don't have to force these people to eat maybe green peas if they don't want green peas, or if this person doesn't like carrots. And You know, it was really impressive to see that they had everything already chopped. And so you could just say, okay, I want this, that, and that. So as little as salad, you know, it was nice to know that this company had, you know, had adapted to changing times. Create accountability for customer care improvement. This is also very important. There are times, you know, when we could want to get complacent, you know, so you have to have an accountability structure. I had a friend who was waiting for me. She said she was willing to wait 2 days for me to come taste her yogurt before she sent it out. She said, I don't know if this tastes quite right, so I would need you to please come. And I was like, okay, you know what? How about you do this? Maybe we send it out, and if the customer complains about it, then we could just offer to, you know, send them a new batch. That's also another part of customer care. When a customer complains, you know, you need to listen. And so she says, no, that may cost us so much more. How about I just wait until you can taste it? And if we say it's not good, then like the first speaker said, rather than have someone come to the store, you know, and then you're not done making that garment, you call them on time to say, oh, there's a problem, and you know, we'll get it to you at a later time. So rather than send it out to them, let's just deal with it now. If it's not good, it's not good. I'll call them and tell them, you know, we would have to push the order forward. So this is creating accountability for customer care improvement. Over time, as your business, you know, expands, you wouldn't be able to do it all by yourself. So you would need to deliberately, consciously train your employees, you know, to mirror what it is that you want for your business. It's not just about picking up somebody who has a first-class degree. They may have a first-class degree, but may not be quite passionate, you know, not share the same passion as you when it comes to that particular business. Everybody wants a job right now. You know, they just need to have, you know, money to put food on their table, but you shouldn't be in a hurry to just pick up anybody. And then even if you do, you know, within the first few critical weeks, you need to make sure that, you know, you're training them to understand what it is that you value, your values. Yes, like the first speaker spoke about. Okay, moving right along, let's quickly look at some of the mistakes that, you know, we make when it comes to customer care. Lack of knowledge, just like she mentioned, you know, you can't give what you don't have, and then you can't have an edge, you know, when you don't know as much as you need to do. So a lot of customers are frustrated when the service, you know, agent, which could be you at the moment since you're just, you know, starting up, does not have enough information. So for instance, the lady who's into ski, okay, you're selling Oriflame. So let's take, for instance, somebody who says she makes organic products, but she has to source her things, you know, from left, right, center, and then all she does at the end of the day is just mixing it. And someone is asking, oh, please, does your product contain X, Y, Z? You know, and you're not able to answer. That's not good enough because they may be reacting to such things. You know, I'll still go back again to the yogurt. For instance, I'm lactose intolerant. Can someone who's lactose intolerant take Greek yogurt? You should be able to answer. So whatever it is that you've chosen to be your line of business, you know, you need to constantly research and know what it is that you need to know. Some people say, this is just who I am, you know, making up for not being friendly. When it comes to customers, you have to, like we said, go the extra mile. You need to be friendly. Customers love a brand, you know, that's based on friendly services. You know, you need to smile often, even if it's not a facial conversation. You know, on the phone, you can tell from someone's tone, their attitude, and all that. Showing no empathy. Someone told me she ordered a dress from a lady in Port Harcourt, and right from the very beginning, she was just like, oh, it's just three colors, this or that. And she's like, okay, can I at least even see the shade of green? And she's like, okay, it's only one green that we have. Can I still see it? So long story cut short, she ended up paying for the outfit. I liked what she was wearing. And I'm like, oh, this is really nice. Where did you get it from? Let me, pick up a pair for myself. And she's like, I'm not going to recommend that lady. I'm like, what happened? And then they gave me the breakdown. So you need to, you need to be friendly, you need to be empathetic. And then you need to work on your time management. That's also part of customer care. As much as possible, let your times for delivery be fixed. If you say it is, AM, let it be AM. If you say it's going to be, in 2 weeks, then let it be 2 weeks. And then in the event that, things just don't go right, please, you can't over apologize. You cannot over apologize. You can't say, this woman's one is too much. What is it? I begged her yesterday. My husband even took the phone from me. He begged her to. We've called her. Some people are touchy. You have to deal with it. Okay. Moving right along, you don't at any point in time lose your temper. I would rather, if it's a phone call, for instance, that you cut the call, catch a deep breath, and call back later. I would rather that you don't even pick up the phone, for instance, and call back at a later time. Make up, a good enough excuse. Oh, I'm sorry, my battery died or something, than having to apologize for, I apologize if it's a time-bound issue, but try as much as possible not to have to apologize because you raised your voice, at a customer. And yeah, so that would be some of the mistakes, that we have to deal with when it comes to customer care. So if you have a pen there, I would like us to write down what I call the 6 pillars of customer care. So the first would be attitude. 6 pillars of customer care. Your attitude, by interest, your interests, and what you feel are the interests of your customers. The actions, number 3, the actions that you would be taking, to fulfill these interests. Your verbal language, your body language, and finally, the tone of your voice. I'll run through those again really quickly. Your attitude, by interest, that's interest, your interest and the interest of your clients. The actions you intend taking to meet these interests, verbal language, body language, and the tone of your voice. Okay, so when it comes to verbal language, some of us may need to, get more skills when it comes to clear communication. For instance, I have personally noticed that a good number of times the things I say are misinterpreted. So you need to learn how to make sure that you and your customers at each point in time are on the same page. Otherwise, it would cost you time, it will cost you energy, it will cost you money. So learn to communicate clearly as possible. Every now and again, just like Lady Faith explained yesterday, sometimes there will be conflicts, but how do you resolve this in such a way that, the person, the customer, the client is willing to recommend you to another person? So conflict resolution skills are also important. Self-control, we've talked about that. Empathy, your positive attitude. Now, taking responsibility. I tell people to always put themselves, in the shoes of a customer. When you want something, you want it. When you've paid for something, there's a time frame within which you expect to get it. So always put yourself in the shoes of the customer. This usually would make you more empathetic, and more responsible. Have a good sense of humor, I mean, it would be nice every now and again to sometimes, I see it, maybe the Pepsi adverts or something, there's just something about it that makes you smile, makes you sometimes even laugh. You like call your friend, oh, have you seen this Airtel advert, and things like that. So on the level at which you're able to relate with your customers right now, try to have a good sense of humor. Lady Faith, are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay, I hope I haven't eaten too much into the next speaker's time.
Your time is when it's your time.
All right, okay. So with all of this being said, do you have any questions, listeners?
Some of us are just here. Okay. Someone said amazing. Some of us are just here, just loving up on your voice, and everything about you is customer service. Everything about you is customer. So it's so nice. It's so good to, listen. If you have any questions, please. Lady Diane is still on call. She has an appointment. So yeah, nice voice. You see, not only me.
Hi, Raquel. Okay, so let's move right along. So that would be the end of my session. I would drop an email if there are any questions that come up later. Exactly. I would be glad to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the class. Thank you so much for the class. Thank you. Can you see the feedback?
1 second, please. Okay, Raquel, if you're on there, what exactly causes most of these frictions with your customers? Maybe we can be more practical. Okay, she's not talking.
Oh, I switched my device. I just switched to my computer. Good morning.
Okay. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, Lady Diane. So my question is actually, well, first comment is that no more fighting customers. I know a lot of business owners will fight customers, even though you say customers are always right. But you know that customers can be very, very difficult sometimes.
I know.
Very, very difficult. So
I know.
And then I like that you said we should apologize for maybe technical issues, but not for attitudinal issues. So not like we're rude to them or anything, but it could be like, oh, my battery died, or sorry, dispatch is late, or something like that, but not them being rude to them. And then not start to apologize. So it's still okay to apologize, but then we need to learn what to apologize on. Things are not detrimental to our businesses and our character, which is very good. So I really took that home. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. All right, ladies. So I'll be driving and listening to the rest of the the conversations. Thank you for having me once again. I look forward to seeing some of you live.
Say thank you so much, Lady Diane. Just say thank you in the chat box. Just really appreciate her. I really appreciate you, Lady Diane, for your time. I know how you had to, give me this time, and I really, really don't take it for granted. Thank you so much for the sacrifice, for your love.
It was an honor. Thank you too, Lady Faith.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I don't know if we're ready for Raquel, but let me just buttress one thing that Lady Diane said. There is a quote that buttresses what she says. She said, the quote says, people don't really care about what you sell. They care about how much you care. So when they know what you care about them, then they can now see what you're selling. Now, so that thing goes to it speaks about people, your emotional connection with them and how you relate with them really goes to tell them if you care for them or you just care for your money. And so people naturally towards the people who care for them than care for them. For instance, you have a restaurant and you're like, oh, please, you want to have a good time with your wife or with your spouse? Can we create a place where your children can play? That is you creating a place for, you're trying to care for them. You're trying to find out ways they can be comfortable. So that shows care. And so, customer service, you said, what is your higher why? Now, customer service actually is the higher one. Actually, if we would really say the truth, customer service is the backbone of every business. Customer service.
Absolutely.
Yes, because you will keep, and right now, this business meeting is not for short-term businesses. We're not trying to get businesses that will last for only 3 months. We're trying to get businesses that will stay for the long haul. And if you want to keep having clients, you have to apologize for not picking their calls for 2 weeks after not delivering for them or to them. They will never recommend you. I always say that the client in hand is better than the clients outside. The ones you're advertising on Instagram. It's just like the story of the Samaritan woman. When Jesus had that encounter with her, it took only her to go and call her whole village. So if that one in hand, you didn't treat that one well, or you didn't do so much for, you didn't care about the person's well-being, and she spoke about empathy. Very important. Very important. Those are things that lots of businesses don't have, because a lot of people are just out for the dough. Let's cash out. So if we can get right, okay, go on, man, go on.
A quick one, please. Customer care, no matter what business it is you do. I just remembered now. I have a client too who is into building, and she will tell you any day, anytime, I have to balance it. The kitchen has to be as catchy as the master's bedroom.
Wow.
I cannot have madame coming, because at the end of the day, every responsible man would still lean, to what his wife likes. And she feels that once my kitchen is a banger, she will say, let's deal. She will tell her hubby, let's deal. So do you know what she does? She goes as far as dropping, new sets of pots in the kitchen when the house is ready. Beddings in the master's bedroom. Yes. So she does her house in such a way that at least you can sleep in there for a night. And then she puts an AC in one room. Then before you people start, trying to settle in and knowing, oh, am I moving my things from Port Harcourt? Am I moving from Maiduguri? Because, a lot of times you've had cases like that where people need to stay in the hotels for a few days, and it's cutting into, their, So she makes sure that as you're buying a house from her, you can sleep in it, at least for the first few days.
Wow.
Yeah. So as little as whatever the business is, like you said, just put yourself in their shoes. Okay, I want to have some time with my hubby or my, with wifey. Where can the children be? So eventually, a time would come where, just like Osarigwe said, you need to keep, doing those questionnaires. Sometimes even in your head, within, your accountability group. And as the questions keep coming up, you keep looking for solutions. Okay, so that I don't eat so much into the next speaker's time.
All righty. Thank you so much for this
You're
powerful.
most welcome.
Thank you so much. I really do appreciate this. I really do appreciate this. Thank you so much, Lady Diane. God bless you for your time.
Thank you. Bye, everyone, for now.
Oh, bye. So I'm about to introduce our next speaker. Our next speaker, if you can see her, she is the popular, lovely, awesome woman, virtuous woman. Okay, let me just read her bio. Raquel Kasham Daniel is a social entrepreneur working in marginalized communities in Nigeria, focusing on education for citizens and sexual, sorry, I can see.